5 strangers stranded in a diner with Jesus. Is it worth watching? Find out in this week's Indy Christian review. No, this isn't part of the Perfect Stranger series that I looked at last week. The Encounter was made by Pureflix Entertainment and came out in 2010. How does it compare to Perfect Stranger? Well, other than the premise of people meeting Jesus in a restaurant, there's really not much of a comparison. It's kind of apples to oranges. I wouldn't even really bring it up if I hadn't just looked at Perfect Stranger last week. Now, The Encounter gave me a lot to think and talk about, so I'm going to stray from my usual no spoilers policy and go kind of all out on this one, so be warned. We open on a dirt road on a stormy evening and see a girl walking through the fog. She tries to hitch a ride, but the distracted driver nearly hits her and keeps going. After him, we meet a couple going through some marital problems. And the husband hears a voice that tells him to pick up the girl, but his wife, clearly the dominant one, tells him to keep going. Thankfully, a lady comes by who also hears the voice and picks up the girl. As they talk, they pass by a place called Last Chance Diner. Meanwhile, Mr. Soulpatch comes up to a roadblock. Officer DeVille tells them that the road's closed and dangerous with a flash flood warning. So the 5 head back to the diner, and at first it looks like there's no one there until... Hello? Ah! Don't do that! Alright, here's where things get going. The owner's name tag says Jesus, which gets a joking reaction, but after he starts to display miraculous knowledge about each of them, he claims that he is indeed Jesus himself. Hank and Catherine Miller are on the verge of divorce, though Hank doesn't want it. He's the first of the group to believe that this man is indeed Jesus, asking him to save his marriage. The next one to believe is Melissa, who's on her way to visit her boyfriend, hoping that he's going to propose to her. But Jesus warns her that she shouldn't marry him since he's not a believer, and that things really wouldn't work out. He does assure her, though, that he's got better things planned for her if she trusts him. Now, the rest of the travelers aren't believers. Nick Crusher Crescetti is a former NFL player turned millionaire restaurant tycoon, and is the most hostile of the group towards Jesus. Hank's wife Catherine thinks she's a believer, citing her church attendance and teaching Sunday school as proof. But Jesus sadly tells her that she's not actually saved. It's not really made completely clear as to what's prevented her from truly believing. And finally, we have Kayla, a teenager on the run from a miserable family life with a junkie mom and an abusive stepdad. Now, what follows is a very interesting conversation that covers a wide range of issues. It's very compelling and is well acted and well written, and I found myself being sucked in really quickly. All of the characters are believable and have depth, and all of the travelers go through some kind of arc, even if it's a little predictable at times. But what I actually like about this one is that not everyone in the diner comes to believe in Jesus. As sad as that is, it's realistic, which is always good to see in a Christian movie. I really enjoyed The Encounter and I think it's absolutely fantastic. But the ending does bug me a little. Let me explain, and again, major spoiler alert here, so if you don't want the ending ruined, mute the video and I'll tell you when to come back. So, by movie's end, Kayla comes to Christ and Catherine is willing to listen, but Nick, he's just downright hostile. Jesus asks him why he hates him so much, but Nick responds that he doesn't hate him, he's indifferent.
I don't want you. I don't need you. I'm not like these losers.
Suddenly, Officer DeVille shows up with news that the road is clear and they're free to leave. Nick jumps at the opportunity, which we all know is disastrous. Now see, earlier Jesus had told the travelers that he brought them to the diner to save their lives. The road is unstable ahead, and if they had gone on, they would have all been involved in fatal crashes. So when Nick's leaving, your heart just sinks because you know what's coming. And sure enough, Nick drives off with the devil into the night, and we hear the sound of a car crash as we see a blood-red moon. Now, if the movie had ended there, it would have been very powerful, very moving, it would have been awesome. But they had to keep going. It's like they had to make sure the audience was crystal clear on everything that was going on. Example, after getting some final charges and farewells from Jesus, they all head off and find the road is still blocked, but by different officers. The officer tells them about Nick's crash and that he died, which we already knew. He also has no idea who this Officer DeVille is. Now, the characters should have known, like the audience, who he was a long time ago. But it's not until Kayla spells his name that they finally get it. Now, as a storyteller myself, I constantly hear the biggest rule of filmmaking: show, don't tell. This is a rule that Christian films in general tend to have a reputation of breaking. It's almost like there's this unspoken rule for Christian films that if you're subtle, the audience won't get it. That's not true! As filmmakers, we can give the audience the benefit of treating them like they're intelligent and can get subtlety. They really can. Okay, I'm done with the spoilers now, so if you muted the video, you can come on back. So The Encounter is really a very fantastic movie. I really enjoyed it. Even with that one little hiccup at the ending, I highly, highly recommend it. You can find out more about The Encounter at pureflix.com/encounter. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check back next week for more reviews of independent Christian films. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check out our other reviews at indychristianreview.com. I'm Zack Lawrence. May God bless you, and may God bless independent Christian films.
Ah, so that's how you build a boat.
Cowhead the pirate.
Who wants to know?
Someone who wishes to employ your services.
Really? What's the pay?
Revenge.